Welcome back to another video on level design. This is the final video on my Quake level Repose that I created with Trench Broom, and it's just a quick gameplay video of going through the actual level as it is. And so far I had a lot of fun making this level, though there were a lot of hardships in making it too. But to start off, as I said in all the other videos, I wanted to make a level in homage to Turok 2 and Turok 3, specifically the swamp map in Turok 2 and the wasteland in Turok 3. And I think I did a pretty decent job in emulating that kind of dirty, green, nasty, kind of vile atmosphere here. And with the use of textures, thanks to Quake, I felt like I was able to do that pretty decently well. As for the level itself, I kind of wanted it to be similar in layout to those levels where there's just all these wide areas that have their own distinct geometry and landmarks, but are still large enough to where you can see the enemies from quite a distance away. But just like all those other levels, there's still going to be a bit of almost jump scares, but little traps and tricks here and there that definitely make it feel a little bit more difficult than it probably needed to be, but still refreshing to play nonetheless. Making this level wasn't terribly hard, as a lot of the rooms were actually the same room but duplicated, and a lot of the level layout was just trying to create a very odd, almost non-Euclidean geometry at times, well, in Quake, but just trying to make it as weird as you could, but still aesthetically fit, if that makes any sense. As for enemy placement, I tried not to make enemies spawn way too close to each other, but as you can see during some of the gameplay, it does feel like no matter how hard you try to kite enemies away, you might end up kiting even more towards yourself. And that's something I might have to go back into and fix, but overall I think I did a pretty decent job, just maybe not so good at playing the game as the level as I am making it. But I did feel that enemy placement was needed a little work on, but overall still felt like pretty decent altogether. And the pacing of the level, I wanted it to be short to begin with. I didn't want it to be terribly long, but I also didn't want people to blow through it immediately, so I gave a lot of areas that had their own little nuances too. So obviously adding in enemies was a tactic to try and slow down the player from being able to run through it so fast. But in addition to that, I also added interesting geometry to get the player to kind of really slow down and explore a little bit. And this is more evident with the little bunker on the right side of the level, where you just see one guy just out of it for some reason, and then you happen to go through it and you see that there's a big explosive and more people in there. So you're able to explore that, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot much else in there, but as you'll see later on in the video, it turns out that there's much more to it than it seems. And I do this a couple of other times to kind of really sidetrack the player sometimes, so that way they can think like, oh, there's more to it than there really is, and it helps slow it down. Otherwise, if you just speedrun this level, you could probably get through in about a minute, 2 minutes if you're really good. But overall, I like the fact that the game, like the whole level, felt pretty smooth, and you could finish it with between a good 4 to 5 minutes. Item placement I thought was pretty okay, but I ran into a couple times where I felt like maybe I didn't add enough items in proportion to the enemies, but overall you could still get through no matter what. I liked the idea of using these tablets as almost a little bit of narrative and kind of secrets to give you like an idea of what's coming ahead. And I did like all those little like areas that would pop up here and there when you got the key, and more people would pop out every once in so often, so it helped the pacing stay on time as well. Otherwise you would just run straight to the exit. and it just brings up more areas that you can really explore. And through the other tablet, there's actually another section that would say something along the line, that would say a clue that would lead you towards the secret. However, I didn't want to show this in the video as I kind of wanted to keep it, well, a secret. And just overall, I had a lot of fun making it. I had a lot of fun trying to create something that was from my childhood and designing it in a way that still felt familiar to myself, but also new, using my own skills in level design. And I'm glad that it came out the way that it did. Thank you for watching my video, and you can, like always, download the level yourself in the description, as well as check out all the journal links that I have too on making the level. And thanks. Bye.